Good evening, everybody. How are you? Been a day at work. Wanted to touch base about some questions. I like to ask questions, especially ones that don't readily have answers. I think they're good things, thought exercises promote your ability to think outside the box. And I think that's an important skill which has been tragically ignored in the God knows how long, at least since September of 2001. Oh, look, there's a Minnesota cop in front of me. Gotta love it. Anyway, so one thing I have noticed, as I've said before, I watch a lot of flat earth debates. From a logical perspective, I am very sure that flat earth has the stronger argument. However, one thing that I've noticed about the globe side is they can't move on. And this has been pointed out by a few people, namely Austin Whitsitt and his group. But they'll ask the same questions over and over again, which the answers are there. These people don't want to know. They don't want to know the answers. They pretend like they do. They might even think they do, but they don't, because if they did, they would accept the answers. So, an example, I was just watching Peggy Hall's channel. I think Peggy Hall, yeah, A Healthy American. Great channel. But what's strange to me, she's interviewing Dave Weiss right now. And in the chat, I'm seeing all the Globe supporters just asking the same questions that have been answered since 2016, at least. Like, well, how come at 35,000 feet, I can't see the sun across the world? God, do you think? Like, literally, do you think? Because you can't see from... Their perspective is a thing. You can't see forever. You are in an atmosphere. When you go into a swimming pool, can you see clearly the other side? No, because you've got a fluid in front of you blocking out light. Air is a fluid. There's no difference. See, goes back to my earlier video about the fish. Does the fish know it's in water? I swear to God, people forget they're in air. God. It's probably the same people that think that carbon dioxide is bad for the environment. But it's just crazy, man. Nobody thinks anymore. And I know I harp on it being isolating, but it really is. Like, God, just think. How many times do we have to answer the same questions? You can't see forever. Okay, let's write that one off. Let's move on. We are not going to get anywhere, find any new information or any new knowledge by rehashing the same questions for 6 years. I know you all... See, here's the problem. The people that think they have looked into flat Earth and still believe in the globe have looked into... the Flat Earth Society, which is clearly misinformation, disinfo actually. It's disinformation. It's purposefully trying to obfuscate the issue. But that's no excuse, okay? There is such a wealth of information available to anybody who can use a keyboard or speak into a phone. It's free information. There's no excuse for you to be ignorant to really anything. If you want an answer, go find the answer. But here's the thing. A lot of you will just look up, and I say you, not meaning my subscribers. Obviously, you guys know how to research things. But so many people will just look at the first result and maybe not even click on it, but just read the headline. It calls back to the Carlin quote. Think of how dumb the average person is, and realize that half of them are dumber. I mean, that holds really true. I guess something that's tough for me, maybe it's a point of privilege, is that I was blessed with a good mind. And not everybody was. Some people were blessed with a good physical body for, doing hard work and sports. I was not. I was blessed with a mind to think and think outside the box. Not everybody was. And, but guys, maybe you should start taking the answers you hear and looking into them. It seems like you'll get an answer, and this is what I see all the time in these debates. The Globe side will receive an answer to a question they've asked and then immediately disregard it because they don't want to hear the answer. And that goes back to my video about the NPCs. It would shatter their illusion of this world. See, to them, this is a totally physical reality, nothing spiritual, that what they see is all there is, but they also can't trust what they see. To me, that sounds like trauma-based mind control. I don't know about you, but as you know, due to my NDE videos, I clearly know that there's a spiritual aspect to this world. In fact, I'd go so far as to say there's merely a physical aspect to the spiritual world. Something I've been thinking about is how we separate our senses so starkly. Most people consider sight to be something completely separate from hearing, to be something completely separate from smell, to be completely separate from taste, but that's really not the case. The way I understand it, we have our senses to split up the input. What's a good example? Okay, here's a good example. So, cameras see light. Okay? But some cameras see specifically infrared light, and others filter it out. That's the same as your eyes and your ears. Your eyes see a certain wavelength, a certain spectrum of wavelengths of the same type of vibration that your ears hear. And just because they're different doesn't mean that it's not in essence the same input. Okay? The sense is different, the function of it is different, but the input is the same. It's vibrations through an ether. And I think by assimilating that concept into our understanding of this world, it'll really help get us to a point where we can make this world more understandable as the ether-fueled spiritual realm that we live in. We are swimming. Regardless of how it seems, we're swimming just like the fish. We are just unfortunately perched upon the ground. But we're still swimming through this air and ether. Oh my God, what am I even saying? I think I need to light. Hang out with me for a second. So, I'm banned from commenting on YouTube, which is funny because I can still chat and I can still add my comments in live chats, but I got banned from commenting on YouTube due to harassment or cyberbullying. Man, we are at the precipice of thought crime. And unless something is done, our children are going to grow up in a completely censored society. And I know you don't want that, and I don't want that. Who would want that? I don't even think the people that are pro-censorship want that. It's funny, over the past decade, really since COVID came out, the powers that be have manipulated thinking so well that they have gotten, historically, the group of people that are conspiracy theorists to reject their own eyes and ears and reject common sense, just like is said in 1984. The party's final, most essential command was to get the people to reject their eyes and ears. And you know why they do that? When you have to outsource your understanding of your own senses to a higher authority than yourself, you no longer own yourself. Somebody else owns you. They have rented out your body, and they can get you to do whatever they want. You will go along with it because they have controlled you by fear. They've controlled you, and notice all of the things that they make you fear are invisible. The Rona, can't see it. Carbon dioxide, can't see it. What else? Oh, the pole switching, can't see it. All of these things are mere phantoms. They're specters, and they've been used to just break the psyches of so many people. And it's those who got their psyches the most broken were originally the most rebellious. But you know what? And then they got the quote unquote conservatives to start buying into conspiracy theories. But these conservatives think that the conspiracies are only committed by what they call the left. So you got two sides, and they can only see their side or the other side. So that's why we're locked into having two sides, and then this ostracized third side, which is people like you and me. But we got two sides, and neither of them can even entertain the idea that something they believe might be wrong. Neither of them can entertain the idea that maybe both sides are wrong. And that's what I try and impress on people, because you can't approach people by saying your side is wrong. Now, some people you can by pointing out hypocrisy. Those who are ethical and who have an appreciation for intellectual honesty, if you point out hypocrisy, oftentimes that will be the seed they need to start seeing the truth. But most people get defensive, and that was their biggest weapon of all, was to get people's psychology so broken that they will defend lies knowing they're lies. And that's why they get mad, and I've said this before, they get mad because they know they're wrong, but there is a visceral fear of going against what they know. And those people are dangerous. They're order takers. And let's talk about the Milgram experiment for a little while. Do you know what that was? It was, I don't know when it happened, probably the 60s, 50s or 60s. So what they did was they got some volunteers and some actors. The actors played patients that were supposed to be asked questions, and for every time they got a question wrong, a button was pressed, which the volunteers thought shocked the patients. And every time there was a shock, it increased in its power. And did you know that only one person said, I'm not going to do this. This is fucked up. I'm going to kill this person. Everybody else that participated, shocked, and there were no shocks. It was pre-recorded screams from the other room. But the point of this is the people that volunteered that thought they were shocking those people thought they were shocking people. And they knew that they were shocking them to mortal injury and death. They knew it. Okay? That is a big deal. The reason they did it is because somebody in a lab coat told them to. Guys, people that can't reason and can't think are far, far, far more dangerous than anybody with an actual plot against your safety. Because the people with the plot against your safety, they can't do shit. What they do is they employ the people who can't think for themselves. They convince them to do a bad thing in the name of good. And they do. They do every time because they don't have the intellectual or emotional capacity to resist. Idiocracy is real, but it's not silly. It's not silly at all. You got a bunch of zombies, and I swear to you, the zombie movie genre, they're not the undead. They're making art about, and it's a metaphor for people that are brain dead. And we are living amongst the zombies right now. I know this has gone from one place completely to, I just went left with it, but hopefully you appreciate my rambles. Happy almost 420. This is the zombie apocalypse. However, let's disambiguate that zombie apocalypse phrase a little bit. Something, it's like sovereign citizen. Those don't go hand in hand. You can't have a sovereign who is also a citizen, because citizen implies that you are under control of the municipality in which you live. Sovereign means that nobody controls you, that you are the only owner of yourself. Now, zombie apocalypse. Zombies are basically brain dead. You could call that asleep. Apocalypse means awakening. And so, look at this. Look at how easily and how thoroughly your language is manipulated. And if not for language, how do you think? You need language to think. And you need to be able to understand language to communicate an actual thought. However, if you don't have that ability and you've got phrases that are just repeated ad nauseum, like zombie apocalypse, another big one is conspiracy theorist. Those words have flipped, okay? Look, go on Reddit. I have a conspiracy. No, you don't. You have a theory, kiddo. You got a theory. So, this is newspeak, okay? This is double plus good. But, anyway, zombie apocalypse. You can't have that. Although, you can. Maybe it's the awakening of the zombies. Like, I was a zombie at one point in time. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's really what the zombie apocalypse is. It has nothing to do with the undead, like I said, but maybe I was wrong, and that it actually, we were the zombies that are going through the apocalypse because it's an awakening. Either way, I'm almost home, so I'm going to try and wrap it up here. It's been 20 minutes. This is a spiritual battle we're fighting, because everything is spiritual. So you are spirit. I mentioned this song the other day. We are indeed spirits living in a material world. Something I heard yesterday, I was listening to an interview by Sting's guitarist. What's his name? Dominic Miller. I love his guitar work. If you get a chance, look up Dominic Miller. He's the guy that wrote the riff to He Deals the Cards as a Meditation. I forget the name of the song. Oh no, is it that? Yeah, I don't know. He wrote a lot of Sting's solo guitar work, and just a great guitar player. But what he said, and this is so funny, sometimes when they play Synchronicity, or Synchronicity 2, I guess, what will happen is Sting will hit an off note, which by all means should sound really bad and isn't in the same key, but without thinking of it, Dominic will also hit the same wrong note, thus making it Synchronicity, first of all, and also not a wrong note. I suggest you take that and apply it to your life, because if you can, I don't know, I don't really have a lesson behind that, but if you can go with the flow, eventually there will come through I don't know, I had something, it left, but I thought that was really cool about their psychic connection. That just goes to show, dude, our brains, our minds are not red jello. Okay, this brain inside your head, that might be a receiver, but you are ever present. You are kind of collected into this body. But you are not this body. This body is not you. This body is of you. But you are not of this body. And I think little synchronicities, like a literal synchronicity in the song Synchronicity, I think that's a really great example. I'm sorry, I'm a little giggly. But I hope you all have a wonderful Friday night and an equally wonderful Saturday. I am looking forward to having a day to myself. I get very few of those. And this coming Sunday is my day. I have some fun guy in a little Tupperware. We are like a mushroom colony. So the way that mushroom colonies work is there's mycelium, which is the part that grows either underneath the ground or beneath the surface of the bread or whatever the fungus is growing on. And then from that come up a bunch of what you would see as individual mushrooms, but they are not. They are merely the above ground manifestation of the being that's underground. And you can think of yourself much like that. Okay? This body and this existence is you popping through to the third dimension. But your mycelium, your true brain, your mind that is connected to everything, kind of like the Q continuum in Star Trek, that is elsewhere. And that goes back to the quantum immortality thing, because your mind can do nothing but keep on. Your mind doesn't know how not to think. That's why you don't stop thinking when you sleep. You know, you just dream. And so your body dies. What does your mind do? Your mind keeps on living because it has no choice but to keep on living, because your mind is life. It's a really abstract concept, but to me it's really wonderful. It really ties a lot of the experiences I've had together, and also can explain why after my near-death experience I have been more connected to like the thing with John that I talked about, how I knew what he was doing because I'd already experienced that. When you are wrapped in your entire life like a blanket, then you can still recall what it felt like to be in that blanket. That was a really bad metaphor, but I can't think of a better one right now. I'm tired. So I hope you folks have an incredible weekend.